The death of Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind of the Hamas attack on Israel a year ago, has led to celebrations in Israel, the congratulations of Joe Biden, and the belief that his removal will hasten the return of the hostages. All three reactions are wildly misplaced. They'll be short-lived as the celebrations were over the death of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. In Hamas's eyes, and to many Palestinians as well, Sinwar died fighting. In the eyes of his troops, the end of this Napoleon came not in ignominious exile in St. Helena, but in combat facing the enemy. Hamas is an institution. Handovers of power are debated and controlled. Over the past year, when communication was very difficult, Hamas maintained its discipline and its cool under huge pressure. Collectively, it has stuck closely to the terms of the ceasefire deal it offered in July. Today, that means a full Israeli withdrawal from the Netzarim corridor, the road built by Israel to bisect Gaza, and the Rafah border with Egypt. All talk of dividing Gaza into two, with an occupation in northern Gaza, is out. This is so far away from Benjamin Netanyahu's and the Israeli military's current plans that even if you take out of the equation the Prime Minister's personal need for the war to continue, hopes that Sinwar's death will soften Hamas's conditions for a ceasefire are a million miles away from reality. Hamas has lost its two biggest leaders in almost as many months. But the irony is that Sinwar's strategy is working better than it ever did before. The popularity of resistance has never been higher. The emergence of the movement in 1967 was not just a consequence of the First Intifada, but the decision of Yasser Arafat's PLO to renounce resistance for peacemaking. No Palestinian youth who has grown up since the Oslo Accords needs to be told that talking to Israel succeeded only in allowing the settlements to grow in number beyond their wildest dreams. Today, the Golan Heights are annexed, and 2/3 of the West Bank are about to go the same way. Under the current military plan to give up to 400,000 people left in northern Gaza the option of starving or dying, the army is in the process of ethnically cleansing 1/3 of Gaza. At no other point in the history of this conflict has the need to fight back seemed more urgent. At no other point has the need for Palestinians to stay put and stand their ground, even at the cost of dying on it, seemed more vital. Not just to the Palestinians besieged in Gaza, but to the Shia in Lebanon, Sunni fighters in Syria and Iraq, and the population of Jordan too. Unlike Gaza, Netanyahu's campaign in Lebanon has broad political support. If Netanyahu's plans to starve the population of northern Gaza out succeeds, South Lebanon will be next. Mir Ben Shabbat, a former national security advisor and chief of staff for national security, said that Israel had three options in its current operation in Lebanon: either to create a security zone under Israeli military control, or to offer a political settlement that would allow Israel to enforce a new regime at the border, or to empty the land along the entire border. Shabbat favours the last alternative. The advantage of this, he writes, is it would convey the message that terrorism against Israel causes loss of territory. Attack little Israel and you get greater Israel. The world is silent in the face of this major territorial expansion of the State of Israel. Silence buys time, and time buys death. The only response that these plans will elicit is a permanent war on all fronts by every people in the Arab world. Those who stay on the sidelines today will not do so tomorrow. They'll be shamed into action. It's only a matter of time before this war and these tactics involve every country threatened by Israel's ever-expanding borders. Jordan will, in time, tear up its peace treaty with Israel. Iran and Hezbollah will fight for their lives. It took a matter of weeks for the Americans to topple the Taliban in 2001 and 20 more years for the Taliban to force them to leave. It took 3 weeks to bring down Saddam Hussein's statue in the centre of Baghdad in April 2003 and 8 more years for the US combat role in Iraq to end in ignominy and defeat. These are not happy precedents for a war which will involve much more than a toppling of unpopular and repressive regimes. This war will challenge the very homeland and identity of the Sunni and Shia in Syria, Jordan, Iraq and Iran. It will be existential for everyone. Will Israel's expansion finish in conquest or retreat? I'm not sure Israel, either in its current leadership or its biggest institution, which is the army, has the capacity anymore to recalculate, recalibrate, to stop and think as it marches blindly towards its own demise.